What's up, guys? It's Talon. Today I'm going to be talking about how to play lane bullies in Wild Rift, how to push your leads and really utilize the lane phase to get big advantages. So I usually do play lane bullies. I'm not really a late game player for the most part. Most of the roles that I play really good early game champs that can really get leads in the lane, because that's just generally how I prefer to play the game. And so the first thing I want to talk about here is why lane priority is so important when you have the lane advantage in the matchup early on. So the first thing it allows you to do is get level 2 before your opponent. So you're going to see on the first minion, or the fourth minion of the first minion wave, I'm going to get level 2, and I'm going to have this advantage over my opponent. What does this allow me to do? It either allows me to trade with them if they walk up and trade with me, or it allows me to take some time to find enemy jungle pathing. You see here, I go for a ward because I have time that I've gotten the priority and pushed the lane to now know where the enemy jungle is. Now, why is this important? I know that the enemy jungle is going on the opposite side. They started their blue side, which I have information because at 50 seconds they were on their Gromp, so very clearly they went blue and then Gromp, and they're now going to path towards the other side of the map, because typically whatever side you start on, you'll end up on the opposite side as a jungler. I can look at my jungler and know that the same thing is occurring. What does this mean to me when both junglers are pathing away? It means until roughly 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, realistically close to 2.5 minutes, there's not going to be much jungle interaction in my lane. I'm free to play this lane to try to find a kill or to play aggressive early and to trade in whatever way I think is effective. Now, my champion has some very good strengths in this lane that I know can make me win. I need to make sure I'm playing around my rage bar, and I'm playing around the fact that I can use my empowered second ability to stop his shield. So I understand what things I need to do in terms of winning this lane, because my champion is again very strong, and so we're going to see how I play out the rest of this lane with these things in mind. You can see, first of all, I'm trying to get trades on him as much as I can. Not only do I build up my rage bar as I trade in the wave, but I also get good trades on him so that he's lower, so I have this potential kill angle again, because I know the junglers are not going to interact early. Additionally, I'm keeping track of when he's using his spells. I'm dodging them pretty nicely, and then I'm keeping the wave on my side of the map. So now, why is it important that I'm keeping this wave? After I crash the first wave, and then I trade with him on the second wave, I now have this wave coming into me rather than having it push. One, this will let the hex circle thing spawn closer to my side of the map because it spawns where the waves are meeting. So I know that it's going to spawn closer to me, which allows me to have control over it. Additionally, it makes him have to walk up further to trade with me, and once I take an aggressive trade, I can get the fruit, and if he goes and gets his fruit, he has to walk back and he'll lose minions. So regardless of whether he either doesn't get his fruit and then loses the trade to me because I have my fruit, or he goes and gets his fruit and loses minions because I have it frozen here. Additionally, you're going to see I'm going to trade, and I'm going to wait for him to shield before I use my empowered second ability, because again, I know how that interaction works. My empowered second ability stops shields, so I'm obviously going to wait for him to use that. So even though this may look like a bad trade to you, I'm actually building up my rage bar quite nicely and getting a good trade, which again, I have the fruit on my side of the map, the lane is on my side of the map, so he can't go back for his fruit, and then I have a potential all-in angle created for me here, where the wave is in very good position, and I still don't expect the enemy jungler to be here for quite a while, because I can look at where my jungler is and kind of use it as a reference since they started on the same side of the map. Now again, you're going to see here I'm going to be looking for an all-in angle, so I'm going to trade and I'm going to try to bait him, and I'm basically waiting for his shield. Now he's not using his shield here, and that's an important thing to note. Oftentimes people will wait on their spells forever, but instead what I do, I go and just use my second ability on him, but I know he's going to shield, so I do not go for an all-in angle here because I would die. I need to keep in mind, again, what spells is the enemy going to react with, and what, defensive spells, do they have a barrier? Does he have some type of shield? Does he have a way to respond? And because of that, I walk away immediately, and then I wait for my cooldown. So now I know his shield is on cooldown. I can trade with him once my rage bar and my shield or my spells come back up, which is exactly what I do, and we end up killing him there. I didn't even need to ultimate. I just ended up ultimating because I wasn't sure if I would die, but it looks like I didn't even end up needing it. And then not only am I going to do that, but another important thing to mention for playing lane bullies is when to use Scorpion, because a lot of people utilize Scorpion in a very ineffective manner, which then causes them to lose a lot. So in this scenario, I'm okay with taking Scorpion because, as you can see on the map, the next wave is quite far away, which means this Scorpion will not hit their wave, because if the Scorpion ends up hitting their wave as I recall, now he can freeze, which then means I have to walk up, and their jungler will be able to gank me easily. But because the wave is so far away, as I can see, I'm okay with getting the Scorpion because it will potentially get me plates. So utilize Scorpion to get plates if you know that it won't accidentally push the enemy wave so that you can get frozen on. Use it to push a lane and dive. and use it when you need to break the enemy freeze. Those are going to be the 3 times that you're going to want to use it, and then we'll see here that we're going to end up getting a plate from it. We're not going to show that, but that's kind of the gist of this clip. This is one important way to kind of utilize lane priority and understanding jungle pathing, as well as understanding the enemy trading patterns in order to win a lane early on. Okay, so now you have your advantage in lane, you've gotten an early solo kill. What do you do now? Well, again, we have jungle pathing in mind. Talon will be pathing to me, and my jungler is pathing towards me. So I know that they're both going to be on this side of the map. What does that mean? Well, in this situation, again, as an early game champion with an early game jungler who will beat Talon in a 1v1, I know that we're going to win the 2v2. And so I want to force fights. Additionally, usually you're going to have level advantages when you do this. And so you can see I'm level 6 to the Mordekaiser level 5, and so I'm going to trade with them. Now, it may look to you like this is not a good trade, right? I do lose the health advantage, and he gets the prio in the lane. But him having prio in lane is quite nice because my jungler is pathing towards me. So again, I know their jungler is pathing towards me and mine is pathing. And so in this situation, unless I have a dive angle, I'm going to want the wave to be closer on my side of the map because then my jungler is going to have a really easy time ganking. So again, I'm going to try to trade with him rather aggressively because I know I'm going to win the 2v2 if their Talon does show up. And I know my jungler, I can see the camps, right, are directly pathing towards me. And so I'm going to trade as much as I can because of the fact that my jungler is on a camp right next to mine. I'm going to look for an all-in angle, and we're going to find it with the help of my jungle. Getting that smite on them, we're then going to get the kill on them. And again, since we know where the jungler is pathing, we expect Talon to likely be here. Now, why in this situation am I still okay with going for plates even though Talon is here? First of all, I'll pretty much guaranteed get a plate. Second of all, I have my flash and my dash up, so I'm likely not going to die to a gank to him. And even if I do die to a gank to him, I have the lane pushing. They can't necessarily pressure and take turret plates. So the most that I'll lose is just me dying, which is obviously not what we want. But again, I have a lot of escape tools. I have a relatively high health bar. I have my rage bar built up. And there's no lane that's pushing towards my turret, so I know that I won't lose that much even in the worst case scenario. So in this scenario, I am okay with going for a potential extra plate, even though I know the enemy jungle is potentially pathing towards me. And understanding when is too much and when you can take a little bit more is extremely important. So again, I'm not going to overstay here. Mordekaiser is coming back now. I want to make sure I get a recall off to spend my gold, because that's another thing that's really important. Just because you get a kill in lane doesn't matter, right? You need to look at items. So for example, in this Mordekaiser's items, before this trade, he had just plated steel caps. I had Mercury treads and just a longsword during this trade. So I had a relatively similar amount of strength to him. So the only real difference was the level. So the level advantage was really what mattered to me in terms of whether or not I would be okay with trading with him. Because him having steel caps versus me having Mercury treads and a longsword is actually not that much of an overall difference in terms of items. So making sure that now you understand items versus just, you know, kills. It doesn't matter how many kills you have, it matters how many items you have. So now I have 2 of these, I think they're called Caulfield Warhammers or whatever, and all he has is an Amplifying Tome and Ruby Crystal. So now at this point, I am much stronger than him, and I can continue to trade really aggressively. Again, I'm going to look at the enemy jungle pathing. I'm going to say, oh, my jungler's on this side. That means their jungler is probably on this side because they have similar clear speeds and they started on the same side of the map. It's not a guarantee, but it's very likely that the enemy Talon is also on that side of the map, so I can continue to look for aggressive trades in this lane. So that's kind of an example of a Renekton lane phase, how you can really push a lane lead overall, starting off from the point of the early game, making sure that you have that prio to get the vision, keeping track of the enemy jungle's pathing to then decide whether or not you want to trade aggressively and how to manage your wave, when to utilize the Scorpion again, as we spoke about, trading aggressively when our jungle is on our side of the map. Just all of these types of things, understanding trading patterns. Again, in this situation, my W is really good for his shield, understanding which, you know, things you need to react with, all of these types of things, creating all-in angles, understanding your champion's limits. All of those things are exactly how you can really push a lane lead such as this one. And yeah, guys, so that is going to do it for the video. Let me know what you thought about this type of format where I sort of just go over a specific game that showcases something I'm trying to talk about. I thought it was kind of cool just to be able to sort of exemplify a game that shows exactly what I want to, you know, show you guys. So if in the future you want more similar videos like this, or you have other things that you want to see, for example, maybe you want to see how to play later parts of the game, or other things like that, or you want to see other lane phases in different lanes and other things like that, I definitely feel like I should make a lot of lane phasing videos because I feel like lane phase is the most important part of Wild Rift. And so I'm definitely going to continue to focus on lane phase in certain videos. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one right after you watch me solo kill this Mordekaiser. And boom.